Welcome to Like Online tutorial, and before us is this quadratic equation, and we're told to solve m squared plus 2m plus 4 equals 0. Okay, so how do we go about it? First of all, in this tutorial, I won't be solving this using the quadratic formula, neither will I be using the completing the square method. And when looking at this, we can actually use the factorization method. Okay. The reason is the product here, the term or the terms in which will give us this product cannot be summed up to give you 2. Okay, so because there is no number, be it positive or negative, two numbers that when you multiply to give you 4 will sum up to give you 2. There is no such number. So what I'll be using another method, and I'll be focusing that method on the sum. Okay. Alright, which is the 2. Now take note that our final outcome ought to be something like this: m now plus a number x now into m plus a number y. So our goal is to find is to find x and y. Okay, now first of all, 2 here. Now what we need to do first is, now let us find the sum of two numbers, and the sum of two numbers will be starting with the two equal terms that gives 2, which is 1 plus 1 equals what? 2. Okay, now if we decided to shift a bit away with a particular constant, okay, let us assume 1. Okay, 1 minus 1, that will give us 0. Now that same 1 plus 1 will give us what? 2, which implies that 0 plus 2 will give us 2. If I decide to shift away again from this by 1, which means minus 1, and I add that same 1 to this, that will give us 3, giving us still 2. Okay, now come up with this particular formula: 1 minus a, which is that constant, now plus 1 plus a should give us what? 2. Okay, so which means as I am moving away from 1 by a particular constant, I'm also adding that constant to this one. Okay, so the two terms gives us 2, and these same two terms must be equals to, when we multiply, should give us what? 4. So which means 1 minus a into 1 plus a should be what? 4. Okay, looking at this now is similar to the difference of 2 squared, which we have come up with 1 squared minus a squared equals what? 4, giving us 1 minus a squared equals 4. Now making a squared the sort of formula, we have 1 minus 4 equals what? A squared. This gives us negative 3 or minus 3 equals what? A squared. So rewriting this or presenting it in a normal way, we have a squared minus 3. Okay, so here we have that a, or square root on both sides, we have a equals plus or minus the square root of what? Negative 3. Okay, so and we know that in this case, so at this point here, we have that this is a now equal plus or minus. Now this will give us the square root. Negative 3 implies negative 1 times 3. Okay, and we know that the square root of negative 1 equals what? I. Okay, so in this case now we now have plus or minus I root 3. Okay, so at this point now, since a is plus or minus, so we can actually use any of the value, but I'll be using the positive. So in this case now, we can have that 1, okay, minus, okay, let's just say minus, then this is our a here, I root 3, now plus 1, then plus I root 3, now sums up to give you what? 2. Okay, so and for the product here, it means what? 1, then minus, let me just use this way, root 3, then I is still the same thing. Okay, then here we have 1, then plus root 3, then I, then equals what? 4. Okay, so these are the two terms in which when you multiply gives you 4, when you add gives you 2. So at this point now, our m, then plus, okay, so this one time here, you have plus 1 minus square root of 3i, then into 1 m plus 1 plus the square root of 3, then I equals what? 0. So which means either of this term or each of this term equals 0. So we can now agree here that m plus 1 minus equals 0, and m plus 1 plus root of 3i equals what? 0. So ultimately, when this one gives us negative 1, then plus the root of 3i, then this, in this case, negative 1 minus the root of 3i. So m is equals to minus 1 plus or minus the square root of 3i. So this is the final answer. So actually you can use this method to solve any quadratic equation. Thank you and God bless you.